Welcome back, Novello Nation, to another episode of the Aaron Novello podcast. We have with us today an absolute rock star, the pride and joy of Houston, Texas. This gentleman has done what he did 1.4 million in GCI last year, right? 150 deals. He's been doing over 100 deals for the last 10 years in a row. The one and only Mr. Rene Sorola. How you doing, brother? I appreciate you taking the time to be with me today.
Yeah, man. No, this is fun. This is fun. I'm excited to be here, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. And you know, I always like to bring people to the platform that can add a tremendous amount of value. And you're definitely one of those people. And I always enjoy our conversations. And they're always like in depth and passionate. So it's like, man, why don't we just let people in on our conversations, right? So
Absolutely.
um
Absolutely.
what I wanted to really talk to you about, because I think you've done a really great job at this, is um, not only do you produce at a high level, but you've also begun to vertically integrate, right? And figure out other ways to capitalize in the real estate business. So before we get into that, though, if you could first just kind of talk to people about, your trajectory up to 100 deals, because I think that took about 5 years. It's very similar to my
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah.
And then after that, we can get into this vertical integration.
Yeah. So I started in the business as a part-time realtor. I had a full-time job and I flipped a few properties and realized that I could get I can get good at this real estate game. And as I was doing a flip, I was doing a for sale by owner and there was a realtor from Williams that said, Renee, you'd be good at this. Go to Williams. But I didn't want to leave my safe, secure job. I went to Texas A&M. I went to college, and I had an MIS degree, a technology degree. Um, and once I sold my first property, the amount of money that I made on that one flip it was more than what I made for a full year. So ended up joining Keller Williams, and they wanted me to leave my safe, secure job. And I was scared to do that. And long story short, they said, "How much money do you need to make in order to leave your safe, secure job?" And at the time, I was making like 30 grand. So I said, "Triple that. Get something together. Put a little plan for me to triple to make 90 grand." And after the first year as a part-time realtor, I hit $106,000 as a part-time realtor. So I left my safe, secure job and I got a coach. And my coaches kept pushing me, and I ended up outgrowing coaches, and then I ended up going to Mike Ferry organization, of which I think that's pretty much where you and I met.
Yep.
And maybe after that fourth, fifth year, it ended up being 100 transactions.
Yeah, that's awesome, brother. And I love that trajectory. And what I wrote down here, which I think is really interesting, is that you're somebody like myself who's very motivated by security.
Yeah,
So you had something that was really secure. And I heard somebody say one time that our comfort keeps us from our calling. So it's
yeah,
like that was comfortable, and it was very difficult to let go of that. And then you also said, which I appreciate, is like you're really just being authentic. It's like I was kind of scared to let that go.
oh yeah. Then we're I don't know, we're just naturally, I don't know if we're hardwired to comfort, but it's comfort. Everyone just wants to be comfortable. I'm a big bow hunter, and you look at these trails, even animals, they'll go on the same trail because it's the path of least resistance. They're gonna. It's just the easiest path. Like everyone just wants the easy path, and that comfort. It's hard. It's hard to leave. But the discomfort that forces the growth. That's where you learn is getting yourself out there, be uncomfortable, do something uncomfortable every single day, and that's going to force the growth. So it's something that I train my team to go get uncomfortable out there, go out there and go mess things up. You know?
Yeah. Don't be afraid, right? Because
Yeah,
it's in the messing up that we actually learn. Now, I'm
exactly.
curious. So here we are, right? We get up to like 100 deals, takes about 5 years. And then here's where this journey begins. And I'm imagining anyway, where we start to vertically integrate and we get more leverage, right?
Yeah.
So talk to me about, because you mentioned your team. So talk to me about once you started to realize like, okay, if I could have other people around me who I can train, take what Renee knows in my brain, and I can hand it over to these people, that not only can I create opportunities for them, but it also creates leverage for me.
Yeah. So really, what happened is fourth or fifth year, things started getting really good. My ego naturally did not want to give my jobs away. I didn't. I want only I can put the listings on the market. Only I can represent these bigger buyers, and only I can do the listings. Where we got blessed with my first kid, Stella, that's where leverage. I was forced to go get uncomfortable and go be leveraged because I didn't want to be that dad that wasn't around. That's what it was. So right when that happened, that's when I got my first buyer's agent, of which was a mistake. My coaches said, go get an assistant first, then you go get a buyer's agent. Where my ego, I was like, no, I got this. I know what I'm doing. Well, I ended up getting buyer's agents, just to pass off my buyers. And looking back at that, I should have got an assistant, but that's where it started. Getting a buyer's agent, then getting assistants, and really what it is, it's really pretty much I've replaced myself for every job that a realtor does. I pretty much have replaced myself with a backup or someone that's permanently doing things. And it's hard. My ego wouldn't. That was the hardest thing, is overcoming my ego, thinking that only I can do it. We're now, the hunt is to finding my replacement on everything.
Yeah, we were just talking about that off camera, that like your greatest challenge now is talent, right? It's finding talented people to plug into your system. So what I wrote down here is very interesting. So you started, you're doing very well. And then I feel like, because I really do feel like business is not a material journey. I feel like it's a spiritual one. So you were at this place where you have a lot of resources, and our tendency, everybody's is to want to hoard it, right?
Yeah.
And to want to hoard all the responsibility. Like, this is mine, this is my business, it's my stuff, right? So your ego, you're saying, was telling you like, hey, nobody else can do this as good as you. Now I'm wondering too, though, was part of that also like a willingness to like let go of money? Because I know that was true for me.
Yeah, it wasn't. It definitely was that. It hurt to, every time I had a salary, if I was paying 25,000 or $75,000 for a salary, it hurt. That was, I'm looking at what type of car could have or what investments what could have I done with that other, with that other money? But it's making these investments into people. That's been a huge return on investment. It's definitely hard to let go. It was definitely a challenge to let that go. And it still is. Every time I hire something else, it's just like, gosh, the numbers need to make sense. But I did notice also, and thanks to my coaches, I noticed that my numbers, my money that I was earning per year, and the units that I was doing per year, it just kind of it would plateau. It wasn't doing this anymore. It was just kind of going flat, a little bit up, depending on what the market was doing. Where one of my coaches, and mentors, Gary Keller, I'm part of this networking group that he says that the next level of the game, to get it to go up, it's investing in the right people, and that's it. It's getting the right people, and your numbers can go back up. You know, and
Yeah,
it's
and I appreciate your honesty, where because that was my experience as well, is like once you get to that like 100-ish like mark, it does start to plateau.
yeah,
And something has to change, and typically that's me having to let go of something, either
yeah,
like a task or money or something, right?
yeah,
So you were able to push through that. You hired somebody, right? And you
yeah.
hired staff. So talk to me about how that fits into the category of vertical integration, because I know you have a team, and now that team, let's say the buyer side, I think you said they're doing about 50 deals, like that actually ends up being a profit center for you. So talk about that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So just it's finding the right buyers agents, and finding the right sales team. Really, just trying to identify those people that hate losing more than they're like winning. That's kind of the key. It's hard. It's really hard to find. But once you find those individuals, you can easily just pass off the deals, and not be involved. Let them manage these deals, because buyers, that's time consuming.
Mhm.
um, I'm going to pass off all my buyers, so then I can focus on recruiting, or vertical integration, other investments. Right now, I want to build my first home, um, for profits. I want to be a builder. We're doing flips, um, but it's just it's finding the right team members will free up my time. I've got to watch the P&L. You got to watch your profits. And I'm just not the numbers guy. I'm not analytical. So I've got to go hire people to help me with the numbers and my executive assistant. She used to work with a big accounting firm, so she's my numbers girl. Where if something's not in alignment, she'll say, "Hey, we need to watch this or watch that," or and that's just not my. I'm more of just like, "Hey, give me the phone. Let's make some things happen. Let's
Yeah, yeah,
go.
yeah.
Let's talk to some people." Where we're hiring the right people to handle everything else it's been a real smart move for me and less stressful to handle the things that I don't want to do or I'm not good at or I'm not the best at or I don't like doing. Like the numbers, I don't have the patience for that. Buyer's agent, I'm a good buyer's agent because I can be good at whatever I focus on, but I just don't like the shopping. My patience level is not there. So a really good buyer's agent is something that we're always looking for. A good sales team that has the patience.
Yeah, so it's kind of like you have the unique disposition to fill the role of what you do within your business.
Yeah,
It's kind of
yeah,
like if the business is a business and you're a shareholder of the business, that makes you an employee of it. So, as the employee, you're fulfilling one task and you're accountable for one particular thing, which is listings taken. And the way that you measure that is you measure how many listings you're taking. That's all you're going to focus on. And then it's about surrounding yourself with world-class managers
yeah,
who can do some of the other things and perhaps some of these salespeople because that becomes another stream of income for you, right?
yep,
Not
yep.
as much as what you're getting from listings, but another stream. Now, another way you vertically integrated, you caught my attention, brother. You sent
Yeah,
a text message or you got this chubby check from a title company. I was like, whoa.
yeah.
So talk about that. Like, how did that happen? How did that like come to fruition? Was that something that you had just kind of thought about? You put that together? Did it fall in your lap? Like what took place?
So really what it was, um, doing so much production, kind of turned some people's heads in the title industry. They're building a title company, and they offered me shares. They offered me shares at a really good deal price per share to be owner of the title company. Um, and that might have been about 10 years ago where I made that investment. And but it was because of showing up every day, getting on the phones, hitting 100 transactions one year, 100 transactions that, just keep hitting my numbers. Naturally, opportunities start, falling in your lap. So it really what it is. It wasn't that this was an opportunity years ago that fell in my lap, but it wasn't, I am the smartest guy in the world and I knew that there was money over here and I wasn't getting it. It naturally fell. It fell in my lap.
I
Uh,
love that, brother, because I feel like people would look at guys like me and you and just be like, "Oh, like he mastermind." Like, nah, dude. Like it just
yeah.
presented itself and he did it right. Now,
Yep.
what I love what you said there though is that I think people they see all of these other opportunities that are available and they try to pursue them, not recognizing that you're like being productive will allow them to open up to you.
Yeah.
So instead of trying to pursue that stuff first, you just focused, got dialed in. I
Yeah.
know what it takes to go from 0 to 105 years. So you got obsessed
Yeah.
with that idea and dedicated blood, sweat, and tears to making that happen. And then once you did, this opportunity presented itself. And now that ends up being, probably quarterly, you get a distribution. That's an additional flow for you, correct?
Yeah. Yeah. This has been for the title company. This has been our best year where it's like, what's going on over here? And the beautiful thing about that is I am not involved. I'm a shareholder. I'm not I'm not having to go to meetings and looking at their P&Ls. It's passive. It's there. I coach my team and I encourage my team to be just as disruptive. Just go get the units. Get my minimum to be on the team is 24 transactions. That's two a month. And if someone's behind goal on my team, um, I've encouraged them to do smaller deals if they have to, just to get good at their trade, hit their numbers, roll out that red carpet, be the best person that you can be, treat your $2 million buyers the same as your $50,000 buyers. And we don't like to touch anything less than 200. But if we're behind goal, It's more of like hitting that number to get referrals. And I'll tell my team that what I want for them is what happened to me, where you're so disruptive, you're doing so many transactions, you get these opportunities from title companies, or um, I've had flip opportunities fall on my lap. I've had I'm going to talk to you at some point once I prep a little more, where we've done flips. I closed on one on Friday, um, where now I've got people that are saying, "Hey, I want to give you money to go do what you do," and
Yeah.
I don't even know how to put that together. Like, and my whole thing is like, if Aaron, you lend me $10, like, I will not sleep
Until you get it back. Yeah.
until I get. So that's to get someone's money and place bets. It's the way I was raised, or the way I'm hardwired. Like, it's hard for me to calculate how that's going to work. I know people do it. I know people do it at very high levels, and I know how to place the bets. I need to get that drunk monkey off my shoulder to say, hey, let's start accumulating the money to go invest. I just need to know how to put all that together,
Yeah,
because
for sure.
years ago I realized I'm just giving these builders these good land opportunities. I'm giving these deals away because of my limited thinking. Where about 5 years ago I said, nah, but now I'm doing these flips, um, with my own cash or my own resources. We really turned things up about 5 years ago with flips and
That's
other
awesome, brother.
investments.
And that's one of the things I wanted to talk to you about too. And what I wrote down here from what you said is, again, just like imparting on your team that be disruptive in the sense that you're doing so many deals that people want to talk to you and provide you with opportunities, whether that be ownership in title company, ownership in a market center like KW provides,
Yeah,
whether that be downline opportunities because people know who you are and they want to, whether that be consulting opportunities because they're like, hey, how are you doing what you're doing? Right. It just opens up all of these other opportunities. And then the other thing I saw that you said that I wrote down that I think is awesome is that you encourage them just to be in the rhythm of volume. So
yeah,
even if they get off track, and I'm aware that like momentum, I've heard Grant Cardone say it's like a fickle mistress, like it just leaves if you don't pay it attention, right? So like
yeah. Huh.
what it made me think about is in 2008 and nine when I was building like you were, there were so many expires, and I was selling these little $100,000 condos. You know what I mean? But by selling 100 of them, I learned how to sell 100 homes in a year and learned how to take 100 lists. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
that sounds like that's what you're encouraging them to do. Is that right?
yeah, 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 yeah. That's really what it is. To you're doing two a month, as a rookie agent. You're going to have the wheels start to fall off, but you want to just really forcing them to manage the chaos. Hit 24. Okay, next year let's go to 36. What is that chaos going to look like, and how can I leverage you, to make so you're not wanting to go home and cry every night. you know
Yeah, yeah, I love
so
that, bro. Because I remember I had a coach tell me one time, she was like, Aaron, and then like your capacity is just higher. I said, what do you mean? She's like, people have like an internal threshold of what they feel comfortable with. And
yeah,
it's like what you're describing is just constantly pushing that.
yeah,
Where I remember where like 50 seemed like, oh, like that's crazy. And it was at the time. And then you get to 100 and it's like, wow, that's crazy. And then you figure that out, right? So it's just like a series of well-managed breakdowns and increasing your internal capacity of how much like you can deal with at one time. Is that right?
yeah, yeah. And it's funny, I see your I'm looking through your book collection back there. I've got one similar, but and I don't see Can't Hurt Me. It's Goggins.
Yes. Love that book, man.
That's kind of the same thing. That, hey, you think that you're at the most that you can take. You'd be surprised. Like, there's a retainer there that you've got to remove. You can handle so much more.
It's
um
true. He calls it the governor in that book, where it's like
Governor,
the
yeah,
governor's always trying to like tamp you down, like, nope,
yeah,
like not enough, right? Not enough. You just got to keep challenging that governor. Now, so we built vertical integration into the game as far as like the team, that becomes a source, title company, that's becoming a source. And then talk to me about flipping, right? Where
yeah,
like in the past, if you were like me, what I would do is like I was just like a deal skank. So like if I had an opportunity to do a deal, and I could just plug somebody in, like boom, I plug them in, make the commission, and I move on. And
yeah,
then it sounds like a light bulb went off for you, and you're like, what? Like, what
Yeah.
am I doing here? So talk to me about that.
Yeah, no. So I saw the insider trader sounds so bad. However, if you're buying property at this and you already know that it can sell for this, why am I giving this to someone else? Like, and I was collecting 6%, representing both sides, and that's cool. But I saw how much these other guys were taking, and it's just my I don't know what it was about me that I don't want to take the risks. I was giving these deals away. So I just did a flip last year during COVID. This guy just really needed to sell his property, and it was an expired call. Like, I make the call, and hey, when are you going to interview and hire the right realtor for the job so we can get your property sold? And he says, "Son, you're the fifth realtor. I'm about to hang up on you. I need to talk to an investor." And I was like, "Well, don't talk to an investor. I can maximize your profits in next to, I can do it in 21 days. I own a title company. Like, we can get this done." And he says, "I'm gonna hang up on you. I need to talk to investors." So I said, "Okay." So my realtor hat comes off, investor hat. It's like, "Hey, it's your lucky day. I buy properties." And I did some quick math, and his property could sell in the high 200s. And just doing math, I looked at the pictures as I was talking to him, and I said the most that someone would, or I asked him how much did he need a net, and he said right around 200 or so. And I was like, "Okay, I'll see you in half an hour. I'm on my way." Go out there. Long story short, buy the property at about 190, end up selling it at 325. And he thanked me when I bought the property, when I submit the offer, at the closing, he brought a closing gift. Like, it was just, I was able to help him. And I
Yeah.
even told him, I said from the get-go, I said, we can sell it for so much more. But he was in a bind that he needed to get the property off his books.
So I'm so curious because it's like this interesting thing to watch that as you're describing it, where you had this one kind of mindset of like, look, I know I can get you way more money, but he didn't care. Like,
Yeah.
literally didn't care. Now, was that surprising to you? It sounds like it was, because like with the fact that he brought you the gift and was like super appreciative, you're like, wow, man. Like, so how has that changed your like approach now, right? As far as how you think about these types of opportunities.
It's really, so it's, we can we're I'm in a position to help you do whatever it is that you want, seller. Like, we can go, here's a package, there's two packages, we can sell it at top price, or we can sell it right now at a price that's going to be lower. Which one works better for you? I'm the real estate doctor, and a good doctor is going to give options. So it just kind of opened my eyes to just really ask, like, you know once you find someone's the motivation, if they really need to do something fast, I've got that bow in my quiver. I can we can go down that route. So it was eye opening. Um, and I've been through that sort of situation before on other flips where, I shouldn't feel bad about the income that I'll potentially make, or the profits that I'll make on flips. I'm actually helping people get from point A to point B in their life. And
Yeah.
I'm full disclosure. Hey, we can sell it for this. Are you sure you want to do this? So it's neat. It's a neat thing. They're hard to find. I need to make some investments into finding more flip deals and more flip opportunities. It's just, once I can leverage my team, I can focus more on flips. And we've got some other things that we're doing. My wife and I own a staging company, uh,
Okay.
and my wife runs all of that. So she's really good at interior design. So she started off with a couple of furniture packages, and she would just stage my listings. And then she got a business partner. She got a warehouse. Outgrew the warehouse after about 3 months. Got a bigger warehouse. Outgrew that after a year. Now we've got a huge warehouse, of which I've got to go paint. She wants me to go paint one of her little offices here in a few hours. Where I'd rather be on the phones, but we're gonna go help her paint there in her new warehouse. So we've got that going on, and just some other little things that we're doing. But building, that's one thing that I hear from all these flippers that are also builders, that they say, don't, you need to build. It's much easier there's less that can go wrong, is what they're saying. It's all just numbers, and you already know how much a slab of concrete is going to cost. You already know how much you're going to have to put in, and what it'll sell for, right? And hiring the right crews. Where for flips, it can change. You can, we our flip this last flip that we did, everything looked good. We thought it was going to be about 30 grand we had to put in, and ended up being $100,000. New
Oh,
flooring,
wow.
new roof. We had a raise. Like, it's, it was our worst deal. All the other ones were just a lot better, but there's curveballs with flips.
Yeah,
So
and there's less margin of error with like the building, it sounds like,
yeah,
because
yeah,
once
yeah.
you're in with
Sure.
the land, there's certain costs. And I'm also imagining that, I mean, I don't need to tell you because demand is so high and supply is so low that home builders, they're doing well, if they have a system in place.
Yeah,
So it's interesting because what we're watching is like this evolution of Rene, right? So it goes from like real estate agent primarily. I go deep down the well and I hone my skills and craft on being, listing property in high volume. Then I begin to, have a team and that's some leverage. Then this title company uh, opportunity presents itself because of production. Then I have this awareness and this realization like, hey, I'm giving these deals to other people. Like I could start to do that. And that creates like a opportunity to do flips. And now there's a staging company. And the next iteration is like actually becoming a builder.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that's awesome, brother. And what I'm aware of is, I guess, moving forward, like, what do you see as like your challenge? Because you have a lot of things going on at one time, and there's a lot of integration here.
Challenge, the markets, and the robots taking over, and these Zillow and Redfin competitors, where I'm realizing that I've got to do more to earn the same amount of income, which is why it makes sense to vertically integrate. And I'm also a real estate coach, where I get paid per hour. And we discussed that. I don't have any clients right now. I parted ways with a couple of them, but that's another thing. So it's just really finding, other ways to earn an income within real estate. I was part owner of a bar slash restaurant years ago. Lost the entire investment.
Did you
Uh,
really? I didn't know that, man.
yeah, yeah. It was years ago. Maybe after my third year in real estate, I had an opportunity, and lost the entire thing, and realized that I need to focus on other businesses within real estate.
I
And
love that. So as when it pertained to like integration, you like went to like, okay, I'm gonna do this restaurant thing. And you like went out of the lane that you'd gotten very good at and went into another lane where you didn't really know too much about it. And
yeah,
sometimes we can assume like, oh, if I'm good here, I'm gonna be good there. That's a whole different business model. And it didn't work out and you lost the whole investment. And then you brought yourself back to
yeah,
the lane, and now we're doing all this stuff within that lane.
yeah, yeah. But it doesn't mean that I would go out. I'm not afraid to go out of my lane, but my guard is up to go out of my lane. I just have to, really, what it is I'm betting on the person that brings me an opportunity. I've got a guy that actually put me together with the title company, and has put me together with other investments that have been like, that's just what they do. They go raise money, and they have these business ideas, where I've told this guy, when there's an opportunity, I don't even want to see what it is. Like, just tell me how much you need.
Yeah.
And I'm betting on the integrity of the guy and his track record, and I'm willing to lose it all. But I know that the guy is just, he doesn't sleep. The guy's just he's a monster. He does so many different things. Um, so if he asked me to do something outside of real estate, I'd probably bet on that. But I just anyone.
Yeah. So
Right
in other
now,
words, because you trust him, like you would do that, but otherwise your efforts are focused within the lane. And then the other thing that you mentioned, and you said it quickly, and I just want to make sure everybody really heard you, is that as our game changes, the net's being compressed because the cost of sale is going up. We have to sell more homes to make the same amount of money. That the the game's moving to twofold. One is like, so it's like, what's the solution? Like, what do you do about that? Well, one is volume,
yeah,
right? So doing more deals. The second is what we're talking about, which is vertical integration. It just logically makes sense. So you could, be an agent. You can own part of the market center. You could have a downline. You could do some consulting or coaching. You can have interest in a title company, right? Like there's all these different ways to begin to generate income within the same lane that doesn't just come from brokering real estate.
Yeah.
And what I'm aware of is that's a shift, man, because like, we came from an environment in which like, and all anybody focused on was just units.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like a different way of thinking.
It is.
So that's awesome, brother. So, as far as like any advice you would give to those that are listening around this idea of vertical integration. I know you said like make sure you're a producer because that allows the opportunities to open up. I know you shared about your experience with the restaurant and how that didn't work out, and how like if you are going to venture outside of a lane, make sure it's with somebody that you really knows their stuff and has integrity. Is there anything else that you would suggest to agents out there who recognize and say, you know what, this makes sense, the cost of sale is going up, there is a compression of net, and it makes sense for me to pay attention to vertical integration, or perhaps at least think about adding like a source like once a year or something like that?
Yeah. Set the goals to, to have my have 10 different avenues of passive income, or just different businesses that will bring in income, even if I've got to put some effort into it. But for the newer agents that are out there, it's get on the phones, be disruptive, go social media. Like, I don't like social media, but I've got to force myself to do posts, because um, if you're not doing it, these other realtors that are not qualified, they're doing it, and they're taking deals, and they're not qualified, but
No, it's funny
they're
because I tell people, I'm like, look, it looks like everybody's like balling, but then I speak to them because they reach out to me for like coaching, and I know how many deals they're doing. It's like, dude, you're not doing anything.
yeah. And that's uncomfortable for me to do. I don't like social media because it's about the look at me, look at me. I don't want that attention. That's not how my profile is. It's not how that's not me. But I've got to get out there. I've got to do that. And so I just encourage being disruptive, getting out there, social media, working hard, and just really looking out for other opportunities. Right now, I think that there's a shortage. I know there's a shortage of appraisers, so I'm looking with another guy to see how we can hire a new appraiser that just gets their license, and starting a little company and just doing a joint venture with this other guy. He owns a restaurant, a car business, a contracting. Like, the guy just does a lot, and him and I have been hanging out for about a year now. So it's time for us to we're in alignment with God, work. Like, we're just, the alignment is just there. So it's time to just, hey, let's try something. I think there's a shortage of appraisers, like I was saying. So that's what I'm going to go into business with him, right now. It's placing a bet. It seems like a safe bet. The money's not big on these appraisers. It's gonna have to be a volume game, but he's big into marketing, and we can, once we start advertising it, we can probably pull a lot of numbers. So it's very preliminary stages, but it's something that we're gonna start doing. So look for opportunities. I'm looking all the time, and just wake up every day ready to to utilize the gifts that God gave you. He wants you to win. Get out there and just and have your eyes open, man.
I
That's
love that, brother. It's sound advice. So listen, man, if people want to connect with you, if they want to find you, if they want to send referrals to you, how could they get in contact with you?
my cell number, or renesorola.com. Renesorola.com is, or Rene at renesorola.com. My cell number is 832-816-4673. I'm out here in Houston, and yeah, I'd love to help.
That's right. He's out here in Houston just doing it, and he's an awesome dude. He will spend time with you. He's an open book. So again, brother, I really appreciate you taking the time. I hope you enjoy your painting that you're going
Yeah,
to head off to.
yeah.
And I look forward to reconnecting with you soon. Okay.
Okay, brother. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Okay.